And we are live. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Good morning, buenos dias a todos. I hope you are well, staying positive and focused on what you can control. My name is Patricia Mota, and I serve as President and CEO of the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, or HACE, a national organization whose mission since 1982 is to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the pipeline of Latinx talent, providing our community the insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. We just got off the heels of celebrating Black History Month, and while we acknowledge and recognize our Black community members and Black culture and history throughout the year, we did get to recognize the history of Afro-Latinidad and celebrated those in the HACE Familia. Check out our social media pages for more information. And also today, March, believe it or not, we start celebrating Women's History Month. So make sure to engage with HACE throughout this month as we really talk about the history of women and acknowledge the women and celebrate throughout various events, which we'll be talking about today as well. Next week, in fact, and I know Katia here, our guest, will be sharing a little bit more information on International Women's Day. Our Chicago Auxiliary Board leaders will be having a special event acknowledging women, and she'll talk more about that. But also a couple other things that I want to inform you, if you don't know already, is that HACE's National Leadership Summit is taking place on April 20th and 21st. This hybrid event will be full of 2 days of content, learnings, professional development, networking geared for professionals in any sector, for ERG, BRG, affinity group leaders, for those in talent acquisition and hiring, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So check out the content, register, please join us, and feel free to reach out for more information. We'll also be celebrating all of our 2022 graduates from our Mujeres de HACE, our emerging leaders, our multicultural leadership programs, over 300 individuals that we'll get to recognize in person, our Chief Diversity Officer Roundtable, and we are also celebrating 15 years quinceañera for our Mujeres de HACE Women's Leadership Program with a special brunch and an awards gala taking place on Friday, April 21st. So it's a jam-packed, full agenda. We hope you can join us. More to come, so check out our website and please reach out to engage, to sponsor buy tickets, to nominate folks for the awards that we have available, and just to get the word out. And so lastly, I'll say, a lot here to announce is that we had a recruitment series yesterday, successful. Our next recruitment series for those that are looking for roles focused on finance, accounting, and HR, that's coming up as well. My colleagues will drop that information and on the link for you to register. And our special guest today is Katia Paolisso, who is a marketing lead at Discover Financial Services, one of our dear partners at HACE. She's an ERG leader, and she's also a leader on our Chicago Auxiliary Board, part of the Mujeres de HACE committee. Katia, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Patricia. I'm doing so well. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly fine. I'm glad that you can join us today. And we get to learn more about who you are, your background. But as we do in Cafecito con HACE, we start off asking our guests is, how do you prefer your cafecito or your morning beverage of choice?
Yes, I love this question. I've been watching some of the cafecitos, so love all of the different varieties. So I have two. I have an Americano or just regular black coffee, my beverage of choice. But then I also brought mate that I drink very often, not drinking it this morning, but do when I have some more time. It's an tea infusion, green tea infusion from Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, different South American countries. And I've been enjoying this culture for many, many years and really, really love it. So highly recommend.
So do you have two per morning or it just varies?
So mate, you would drink like a full thermos of water. And so usually I have coffee, but when I have some more time, I'll have mate. So it's really meant to be shared, which is great.
Very popular drink that's out there as well.
Yes.
Those of you tuning in, join us in the chat. Let us know what you're drinking this morning or your preferred beverage of choice or how you like your cafecito prepared. This is a great opportunity for those of you join us to network with one another. Let us know who you are and leverage this time and space to engage in conversation. Katia, tell us about your cultural, your professional background, how you got to where you are today.
Sure. So culturally, I was born in Ukraine, and my family, we immigrated to the States when I was 4. And I grew up in Chicago. I had I would say, luck and just life experience to live in Mexico at an early age when I was around 13 and 14. And then I studied abroad in Argentina for a year and lived in France for 4 years. So I would say I'm very multicultural, multilingual, and feel just so much passion and love for the Latino culture that's been part of me since my early teen years. So love that. And then from a professional standpoint, I'm a marketer. I'm a lead marketer at Discover right now. I love consumer insights and design thinking. And I also love to, besides my marketing career, I love to bridge and weave in DE&I initiatives in the corporate space and by volunteering with HACE.
Wonderful. Such a rich and diverse background, Katia. And I know many of our folks tuning in also have very rich and diverse backgrounds. So we want to hear from you to share your background. And I know you mentioned you were born in Ukraine, and I want to acknowledge, right, that we're a year in on the war that's happening. And so our thoughts and prayers are with those impacted from Ukraine. That year anniversary just passed. And you talked about just, you lived in various places and how that's really enriched your career and your background, in the sense that you said in your marketing role, you have the DEI lens and everything that you're doing. And I would say that you also incorporate that as a leader for us as Chicago Auxiliary Board in many, many ways. But I do want you to share what I mentioned earlier is about the event that's taking place next week. So March 8th, if you could share more details about the event, but also what your role is on the Auxiliary Board, because I'm sure we may have folks that want to get more involved, that are also alumni of our programs, or just looking to get involved in general.
Of course. So just to back up a little bit, I was part of the Mujeres de HACE program spring of last year, and my company sponsored it. That's how I found out about HACE through our Hola Latinx ERG at Discover, and had the amazing opportunity as an ally to participate in the program. And it was just such an enriching experience. I think we came in, or our cohort came in with, I don't know how many, what expectations, but every expectation was surpassed. We just came out thriving, so ready for the next steps and with actionable tools to move forward. So I wanted to give back and kind of continue to work with the local community in Chicago, where I live. And so I joined the HACE board, and Alex and Emmanuel have been just fantastic, and all of the board members as well have enjoyed that a lot. But I can get into the event and my role within the board as well. So I'm on the Mujeres de HACE committee. Thought it was a really nice place to weave in after the program, and I am on that committee with Susan Hamsis and Jennifer Hernandez, and they are incredible. And this is a team effort. So we're bringing our second annual event this year. It will be a virtual panel with 4 powerhouse women, mostly women of color. And we are, the theme for International Women's Day is embrace equity. And we're going to be talking about empowering women in the workplace. And also Women's History Month is kicking off now, and the theme is celebrate our stories. And so we're definitely going to be weaving in the stories of these incredible panelists, incredible women. We have Ruby Garcia, who was my Mujeres de HACE program lead, and I just have learned so much from her, and she's incredible. So she is joining us. Maria Gamboa, who is a PhD historian consultant at the Public Equity Group. She brings this really nice scholastic lens that I don't always have a chance to interact with. We have Odali's Jasmine Garcia Arce, who is the founder of Hella Latina podcast and just brings this really fresh, young vibe, and is a creator on LinkedIn and other networks. We have Wesleyan, who is the founder of Transformed Sales, and she brings this really nice perspective of a woman in a white male-dominated field, and just also is a single mom and just has really amazing life experience. So those are our four panelists. We're really glad to have them, and we think that we'll have a very enriching conversation on the 8th of March.
8th of March. So that's next week. So make sure you register for this free event that's taking place. I know we'll drop the link in the chat. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But it's such a powerhouse group of women that you'll get to learn from and engage with during this session. So thank you, Katia, Susan and the committee for putting this together. I think and I love the theme this year. You talked about embrace equity because it aligns perfectly with HACE's annual theme, which is HACE United, accelerating equity with action and accountability. And so that's part of the theme that will take place throughout the year, throughout the summit, and all of the events. And we're seeing that it's aligning quite a bit with, other themes that are happening because there's such a need for us to ensure that we are meeting individuals where they are, providing equitable resources, access, information, resources so that they have the opportunity to thrive and to advance. And so talking about thriving and advancing, Katia, you graduated from the Mujeres de HACE program. We're celebrating the quinceañera, 15 years this year. So I'm so looking forward to seeing, the women from the very beginning to the ones that most recently graduated, hear the trajectory of the stories, but most importantly, the lifelong impact that just doesn't go away like during the program, but that continues once you graduate. And you're a perfect example of that. Can you speak more to your personal experience in terms of from the impact from this program? And those of you who are alum and want to share, please engage in the chat.
Yes, I clearly remember a session when Marlene Gonzalez came to present, and she shared the differences of leadership styles, the color energies from the insights assessment, which I loved. I think self-understanding, self-awareness is number one before you can kind of kick off your leadership journey. But she shared where the Mujeres de HACE cohorts were about 10 years ago, very blue and green energy focused. And then coming forward to last year, it was more around the red and yellow color energies. So just seeing that transformation in the cohorts across like different years and how far we've come, I think it's very, very interesting. But for me personally, I have joined the Power ERG, which is our women's ERG with Discover, and took on a leadership role this year. They're doing just such amazing work, super inspiring. I have a new role. I started around the time when I started the program, but it has just helped me excel in my career as well. I've met so many powerful women that I'm still friends with, and I just bumped into one yesterday in the hallway, and we're not just colleagues, but really lifelong friends. So I think the program opens you up to a lot of opportunities. And one thing that Ruby Garcia always says is take up space. So with spaces, once you're typing, taking up more space. So I think it's for women, it's having that confidence. It's knowing that you can, even though you haven't tried something before, and maybe you're not in a leadership role or a politician, or you feel like you have that experience, leadership is personal, not positional. Today we kicked off Women's History Month with Power, the Discover Women's ERG, and we had Julie Foudy for our keynote. She's an Olympic gold medalist, and that's kind of the quote she left us with. Leadership is personal, not positional. So no matter what role you're in, what position you're in, you have the potential as a woman, as a Latina, wherever you come from, whatever background you have, to make an impact, make a difference, and change history for women in the future. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's about unleashing that inner confidence and sustaining it with programs, initiatives, such whether it's Mujeres de Asset, whether it's your women's ERG group, looking for those types of opportunities. Katia, you've shared so many key takeaways and nuggets in terms of your own experience. Any advice that you would have for the audience, or in terms of getting involved, looking for ways to be able to connect, to get to that next level, and to really unleash that inner confidence that you discussed?
Yeah, so I think I was able to unleash that, or I'm starting to, when I dedicated time for personal
Mm,
and professional development in my
mm,
calendar. Just doing what you have to do, what you're supposed to do, what, your list of to-dos are, is not enough to get to that next level. You can definitely excel in your role, and that's great. And if that's what you're looking for in that moment in your life, I think that's very valid. But if you're looking to take that next step, I think it's kind of looking outside of the box, maybe starting to network more
mm,
intentionally, not just, I'm looking for this role, but starting to have conversations, attending events, maybe joining an association like
mhm,
HACE, amazing, amazing events all around, joining the summit, trying to get involved with boards. If you're at a big company, ERGs, I think, are just so crucial for growth and business, not just DNI initiatives. I think they're amazing for business as well. And maybe put a recurring calendar event on your calendar
mm.
around personal development, and it's taking that time to dedicate for yourself. If you're open and you can send messages on LinkedIn to maybe people you've met and say, hey, can you take a look at my resume? Or hey, can we sit down for coffee? I'd like to talk to you about my personal brand statement or my vision and mission. And I think all those actionable steps, if you start taking them little by little, you'll see really big and nice growth in your career.
Wonderful. Well, we have to wrap up here, but if we have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll make sure to get back to the chat, and the video stays on the LinkedIn, the social media platforms that we have it on. And so I'll ask Katia, the last question is, what are you most hopeful for, or positive story that gives you hope for this year?
Sure. So I think it's seeing so many women in different
Mm,
industries excelling and kind of breaking the barriers and doing new things. For example, in Chicago, there's an event this week called Let's Talk Women, and it's a display of 30 plus different female chefs and restaurateurs sharing their dishes and their creations. So I think events like that. In the music industry, whether or not you like urban music, I think there are some amazing women breaking barriers and like
mm.
what lyrics say and what you can and can't do, like Shakira and Carol G recently. So I think just seeing examples across different industries and seeing women succeed and do different things is motivating, and it shows that we can all do it if we, work on it.
Awesome. Thank you, Katia, for your time, for your insights. Happy Women's History Month to everyone. We look forward to engaging with you throughout this month, throughout the year, and especially at ASES Summit on April 20th and 21st. Thank you, Katia, and to everyone tuning in. Until next time, hasta la próxima. Take
Hasta
care.
la próxima.
Bye-bye.
Gracias.
Gracias.